All right, gentlemen. If you follow me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Our gracious Heavenly Father, you who are the only God, we praise you and thank you for your many blessings that you have given to us. We think primarily of the blessings that you have given to us in Jesus, our Lord and Savior, in whose life, death, and resurrection we have forgiveness of sins and life eternal. But Father, we also think about the many ways in which you have blessed the people here in Cheyenne County, and we are so grateful for your daily provision of our needs, how you bless us in so many ways, and unfortunately so often we are not always mindful of those blessings. And so we pray in this day that you would cause us to be moment by moment mindful of your blessings, that we might render
And those are the only two things that are.
Hi, Karen.
Such a rest in.
These are, yeah.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes as written.
Okay.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay.
Better make a motion we approve that. Okay. Make a motion on accounts payable payment register for the sheriff in amount of $188.77 be approved.
Okay.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Okay. Payroll register. I'm going to need to make a motion on this too.
Yeah.
Make a motion for payment of the payroll register in the amount of $1,101.59 be approved.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Okay.
And do the regular warrants.
And that takes care of these two.
Oh, I better sign that in. You're gonna approve the regular warrants.
Pardon?
You need to make a motion for the regular warrants.
Yeah. Okay. Make a motion that we pay the AP payment register dated 6/8/2016 in the amount of $120,292.12.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay. We need to appoint Nicole for NWKCC, correct?
Yes. Yes, Nicole is aware, she was contacted by the Northwest Kansas Community Corrections to be on their governing board, and she's already accepted that position. And so it just needs to be a motion by the board to appoint her to this.
NWKCC. Do I hear a motion to appoint her to the NWKCC board?
I make a motion that we appoint Nicole Romaine, County Attorney, to the Northwest Kansas CC Board.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay. And people were agreeing.
This is our annual peopleware agreement, and I believe there was a check in here for payment. There's 2 copies, one to send in and one to keep in our files. This is just our annual agreement for 24-hour service and all the backups that we get and the hardware.
This is what we've done every year. so-
Yes.
You guys don't have a problem with signing that?
No.
Okay.
No.
Ed?
And then that copy needs to be sent too.
All right. And the budget workday, when's it gonna work for you guys?
We have to give notice to the paper. It'll have to be towards the end of the month.
Okay, how about,
And do you want it in the afternoon or evening?
Probably-
What's most convenient?
probably afternoon, because we're chasing the kids around.
Afternoon?
Yeah, what
Yeah, in
about,
the evenings I go to sleep.
what about June 28th? Come in here at 1 o'clock,
That's fine.
a couple hours. June 28th, Tuesday.
Yeah. That'll work.
June 28th at
Yeah.
1 o'clock
Yeah.
for our first budget workday.
And Karen, can you make sure that's in the, okay.
We had a department head meeting. The department heads have been meeting on the first Tuesday of the month, and it was a suggestion of the department heads that they would like to meet with the board and present their budget to you at that
Okay.
time and discuss why. And so if you agree with that, I'd be happy to schedule departments. Do
Okay.
you want them on this first budget workday meeting?
Might as well get them in.
Yeah.
And some departments may only take 15 minutes, some may take a half an hour, depending on
Okay.
the size of the department.
You just spread them out a little bit.
I think in light of the tax lid, it would be good to hear from them why they budgeted what they have for their budgets. It might make your decisions a little easier.
Okay.
I will do that. Thank you.
All right, the NRP contracts.
We have 5 NRP contracts that need to be signed off on today. It's on the signature is on the second page. That that's just the paperwork that goes with it.
Are these contract amounts all the same?
No, they're
Oh,
not.
okay.
They are not all the same. It just depends, it's a 10-year program, and the first year it's paid 100%, the next year it's 90%
Okay.
and 80%. And so it's prorated.
So what do we do about that?
Well, it's her trust. It would be
Okay.
the.
Okay. Okay with those?
Make a motion that we accept the NRP contracts as stated, 5 of them.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Okay, and you need to sign them, don't you?
Yes,
Look at the back page.
yes. Yeah.
All right, we have 3 minutes. We have a resolution.
We needed to do a resolution for the public transit. And that is that. To establish the fund. This is to establish the fund, so when they're received, we have a means of receiving the money in and paying the expenses out, receiving the grant funds.
I'm going to make a motion that we approve Resolution 16-11, Cheyenne County Coordinated Transit District Fund.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Mr. Dungan, step on up.
I'm only going to be here for 10 or 15 minutes. The reason why I'm here now in person is because you failed to respond to the letter I wrote at the last meeting.
Do you want to know why I didn't respond?
I'll explain.
I'm going to interject first.
Go ahead.
Paragraph 5. I want to point out you as senior commissioner have led the meeting, but explained that due to a conflict of interest, you can't vote for any options. Your wife is an EMT, and your office is right across the street, which allows her the chance to be the first EMT at the station.
Right.
You didn't have any of your facts straight. Ask her. It made my wife mad. And there's a lot of other things. So, no, I didn't respond to your letter because I found it to be very disrespectful. So,
Well, if you think I was disrespectful then, you'll think I'm more disrespectful now. Because the reason why I wrote that letter is because I left that meeting up there upset. But my question is this here, very simple. As a taxpayer, you're the county commissioner for my district. I pay your wages and my property tax. Every time I renew my vehicles, I have 5 vehicles registered. I pay your wages. That means you answer me. When I ask a question, I expect an answer back, either verbally or in writing. I don't care one way or the other. Now, my questions are very simple. And I'm going to start right with your salary. Now you make a decent wage. How can you justify at your income level low-income taxpayers in this county paying for your health insurance? Is there a law or regulation, whether it's state, federal, or county, that authorizes you to draw? Or
and
be paid?
you mean everybody here.
Yes, I do. I know Mr. Ragtap's defined his, but
That's because he's getting,
that doesn't make a difference.
Oh, it's
You're
why
not
he
a full-time
declined
employee. You're a county employee or county commissioner. How can you justify the taxpayer paying $18,000 a year or more for your health insurance, especially at your income level?
it's always been that way, and I think
My question right now is why is always, I want to find the regulation would be federal, state, or county that authorizes that. Because there are people in this county right now that are living on less income and take home than you're making.
And how much am I making? I mean, you seem to have all the answers, and you ad-lib your sentences. You are borderline slander because I had 3 people come up to me and say what you said.
That's right.
Do you understand what ground you're walking on?
Yes, I sure do.
Good.
But I also understand.
As a citizen, is that legal? Like,
Yeah, you
like
can
the
say.
commissioners don't just sit here and do a meeting. They get calls all the time, usually daily. Usually, I mean, it takes up our family time, sir. And I was very upset with your letter because it not only slandered my husband, but it affected me as an EMT. You are one of the reasons why I stepped down, and I loved that position. And I stepped down when he became a commissioner because I was afraid of people like you being mad and thinking there was nepotism and favoritism on the EMS. And I told him, I just can't perform at this level anymore because I know we're going to get some heat. So, and it happened 4 years later when I'm not even an EMT anymore.
Right. And I respect your wife's opinion there, I do. No, as I said right there. Now, the second question I've got is when the individual that, let's say, resigned before the current director was hired, they were working for $10 an hour, roughly $30,000 a year, maybe under. Was that person in budget all the time?
I believe she was, yes.
Okay, so my question is, why did this county hire someone at double that income that has never been in budget since the individual's been in there? This information should be provided to the taxpayers in this county. In 2 years, those people went $47,000 over budget, $47,261 to be exact. Why hasn't that individual been required to stay within budget or provide information to the county taxpayer as why he is constantly over budget? Why? Now, I have no objection to Mr. Riley earning a decent living for his family, but at the income level that you put in, which is almost a little over $87,000, that's large city wages, not small town wages.
You've got insurance in on that too again.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
That's right. Base salary is $62,000 plus another $25,000. and some in health insurance benefits. This county cannot support, the taxes aren't there. We're a declining population, and the tax revenue is not there to pay that type of wages. That's big city wages. I didn't live here in St. Francis. I went out here. I earned more than that a year. I'll guarantee you that. My retirement income is more than that a year.
Good.
But I earned that in a location where they paid the wages to support me. Not here in small town USA. I've watched my taxes more than double in the last 6 years. I've asked the questions why. And these are some things I look at. But if a person goes in 2 years $47,261 over budget, he should be held accountable because that money had to come either from increased taxes or other places in the county. Either we've got roads that aren't being maintained in this county and other things like that.
What you're going to see on the over budget was that when we hired Reed, we were under the understanding that we were going to do a lot more transfers. What ended up happening is the transfers cost more money to get them there, but we also see revenue coming back. You were at the same meeting I was. Did you not listen to that?
Well, right. I actually have the amount of revenue written down there that the ambulance service brought in. And
Okay.
this is in that paper there too.
Well, your complaints are valid on that, but I want you to understand why they were high.
Yeah.
Because we accepted a lot more transfers. There's more diesel, there's more man time. So yes, it is going to be higher, but that is your answer there.
Okay. Yeah, but there is a way to reduce some of that, as I mentioned. One is get volunteer drivers. I told you in my letter and saying publicly.
I did check on the volunteer drivers, and my answer was kind of vague.
Why? Who did you check with?
I talked to Reed about hiring older people to drive.
And why?
Why
is the answer vague?
Because I don't know. It just seems like they can't have them on call, or I don't know.
If a person volunteers, and I put my name on this, I'd gladly volunteer to drive the ambulance when it's needed.
Well, let Reed know that, because I told him there's a lot of people that would drive the ambulance to help.
And to spread it on out, that would reduce part of the cost. The cost of training EMTs, that they used to be right up here at our high school. They used to teach classes. Rather than send this gentleman to school to teach classes, why not go to Kobe? And I think you'll find that someone will come over here, be glad to teach classes here at a lot less expense than it would take to send Reed down and teach classes and come back here.
It's huge to hire people to come here to teach. People don't want to do it for peanuts, and then we have to drive there. Sir, it's difficult. And to be a volunteer driver, you've got to be precise. You've got to be able to react quickly. You've got to be able to do some sort of medical.
Man, I drive 20,000 miles a year.
But it's not you.
And
You want other people. I trust that you could drive an ambulance.
I understand that. But the same thing is, if you have volunteer drivers, they're reliable volunteer drivers, you reduce at least half the expense.
We can't get volunteers to even perform EMS. We can't even get volunteers to do that.
Then maybe some privatize the ambulance service and get rid of the county service.
It might be an option.
I think it's the best option around because what we have now is not cost effective. And I've covered the budget. I won't go into everything else I say here. You read the letter.
Mm-hmm. The stuff that I found legitimate, I did check into, but I didn't this thoroughly. You were disrespectful in the letter, and you weren't worth my time to call back. So that's your fault, not mine. Okay, but I did listen to it, and I did check on it.
Well, if you think I'm not worth your time to call back, I'll guarantee you.
Not when you sit there and you're making up crap.
I'm not making up crap.
Really? My wife wants to be the first one on the EMT at the EMT station. She hadn't been an EMT for 3 years.
No.
There's no about it. You wrote it in the letter. You're telling people that. You're way out of bounds.
I wrote it only to you because that's the information relayed to me. But now I'll accept the fact that maybe some of the facts are not 100% accurate.
But okay, me as a commissioner,
Yes.
I had about 10 letters. We all did. Okay, we go through the letters. Most of them were to the point, and it was some good advice. But when you sit there and you write a letter to me that's disrespectful, you expect me to come and say, oh, yeah, I'm going to hop all over that. That's not how it works. You either show somebody respect.
Let me explain.
You were in the military, correct?
You damn right I was for
Okay.
21 years.
Right. So you understand how stuff works.
Yes, I do. And
Okay.
if a young soldier was disrespectful to me, I took him aside, talked to him, found out the reason why.
Right.
I did not ignore the person.
Well, in this situation, I addressed all the other letters, and I'm sorry that I didn't address yours, but at the time, I was, it bothered me that you were ad-libbing. There's several different things in here that you were not correct about. But I appreciate your interest.
Then you meet me on the side and tell me where I was wrong.
Okay.
And I'll accept that.
Okay. Well, my office hours, I'm up there, stop by my office.
I'll do that.
Okay?
Now, I'm not, just say one more thing. I'm not
Yes.
going into everything
Okay.
I was going to, because I'm concerned, like I say, my taxes constantly increase, my property values don't go up. I've been paying taxes in this county since 1971,
Right.
and even though I haven't lived here only the last few years.
Right.
Now, I've got a question for you. Can you tell me who wrote and said this statement? If taxes are laid upon us in any shape without our having legal representation, are we not reduced to nothing but miserable state of tributary slaves? Do you know who wrote that? Who said that?
No.
Samuel Adams in 1750. 4 years later, with the Stamp Act the British slapped on us, the Sons of Liberty was formed, and that led to the rebellion against the British. The complete finishing increase in tax from the federal government right on down the line is going to result in the same thing happening again. Something has to be done.
I agree.
The over-control spending in the White House, right down to what I see as overspending here in this county, has to stop.
I agree.
Taxpayers cannot afford it. When I see people that are almost ready to be put out of their homes because they don't have enough money to pay their taxes, I mentioned 2 instances in that letter. We have a problem in this county.
We're addressing that. So,
And the last thing I'm asking is, when this gentleman was hired, why wasn't there a job description written for his responsibility? Why wasn't that placed in the paper so that everybody could apply that was interested in the job versus one person being brought in and take that position? Isn't it by law? Isn't that supposed to be placed
anything
in
with
the
a
paper?
legal, everything with the legal aspect, we consulted our county attorney. If it wasn't in the paper, and it was not Nicole at the time.
I know that it wasn't.
Right. If it wasn't put in the paper, then we were directed not to put it in the paper. And if that's the case, then, and I was not the chair then, I was newly on.
I know the chair was.
Right, but
I mean, I don't see
it's not anybody's fault, but we look, anytime there's anything going on that there could be a legal issue, because typically we have to run an ad in the paper. Okay, so my suggestion would be look back in the minutes to when this happened and see if there's anything about it. Because after reading that, and there was another concerned citizen that had wrote, why wasn't there an ad run? And, I was at a loss. And the only thing I can tell you is every time we do anything that it has anything to do with hiring, we run through our legal counsel, so it's legal.
A number of years back, when the county commissioners, not county commissioner, county engineer position came open, that ad was read in the paper for, I think, Dave Fleming, this county engineer. And he got the position, but the ad was put in the paper with the duties, responsibility, and wages.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you on that. I don't
And that should have been
understand.
done for this position. And like I say, I'm not against Mr. Riley earning a decent living. I just don't feel that in this county, that wages can't be paid to employees. And I look at, in this case, the sheriff is here. Every time he goes, I know he doesn't make that wages, but every time he gets in that vehicle and goes out there on the road to make a traffic stop or answer to a domestic call, whatever it is, he's laying his life on the line
Exactly.
for a lot less wages. And the last thing I mentioned there is volunteers. There's a big thing made about volunteering, EMTs being volunteers. Well, I have no objections to paying the EMTs when they're out on the ambulance run. I object to paying them when they're sitting at home on standby, because the definition of volunteer is to work without paying compensation.
Put it in there.
Now, you just look around this county from the Thrasher show to the people that maintain the fair equipment to the people that run the thrift store, and many other people volunteer without paying compensation and don't complain about it. That's been going on for years. So why are we paying people to stand by? I have no objection to paying them when they go out on ambulance run. But they made a big thing about all the ambulance runs in their service. Vic Dank Frank heard on Memorial Day weekend. it was sort of a mess to get him out of the field. He's the one who finally told the people, put me on a stretcher, carry me up to pick up and carry me to the ambulance. But why did it take an ambulance come out of Goodland to take him to Denver when we have 4 ambulances here in this town?
Sometimes, I don't know I can't actually answer that question, but I can tell you in some situations, depending on the patient's injuries, it takes more advanced support than we have. But, or personnel would be what you might find when you do some checking. If you have any questions for Reed, he will be in here at 9:15. And I would encourage you to stick around, and if you have questions, ask Mr. Riley. Okay? Because if you don't, I like that you're concerned, but I also want you to understand, it didn't say to call you back or anything. You did leave your contact information, but none of the others we contacted back, or I contacted back either. But I applaud you for your respect for the county enough to share your thoughts. So, anything else, Bill?
No, I'll stop there before I lose my temper.
Okay. All right, Helen.
Morning.
Good morning.
The first thing I'd like to do is present you with a copy of the official resolution establishing the highway from Sharon Springs to the Nebraska state line is the Land and Sky City Byway. There's that. And then this is also a copy of the picture that was with the press release that went out to the state. And I do have a copy of the resolution for all of you if you'd like to read that.
That's a pretty good picture.
In Cheyenne County.
Do we don't need
No,
to sign
those are just copies for you to have of the resolution. And when I was in here last time, we talked about the ROS program, and the commission decided not to continue that. And when I passed that on to the state, they came back and asked if you had a problem with any of the employers paying that fee, which is also an option.
Okay.
And so if you don't have a problem with them paying it, rather than this, then I would need you to sign, then the county, to sign the resolution with a 0, and I think Deb has that, with a 0 in that blank. So there's no obligation to the county. But, you know, if somebody wanted an employee, and they were willing to pay the $1,500 a year, then they would have the option to do that.
I see. So this is private companies.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you seen this? Okay.
I think it was the same one that we had last time,
It's
except
just
the
with the
0
zero.
in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you also wanted to know how much you would owe for the existing ones. The top 2 on this list are not eligible anymore because they've moved, so we're just looking at the next 3 on there. And so, in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the A column over where it says annual payment, you would be obligated for this year and next year to pay half of that.
For who again?
For Heidi Plum, Nicholas O'Loughlin, and Tiffany Bullock.
So we're obligated on Heidi.
Nicholas?
And the others?
Nicholas and Tiffany.
Below them?
Right, just the 3.
Just those 3?
Right.
And that's $1,500?
Well, it's just a little bit less because that one is $2,843.67, so we have that. Your obligation for the next 2 years would be those 3 total amounts.
Okay.
Each year would be half of that.
So we can use this to budget for next year for, actually, this is only for 2 more years, right?
It would be this year and next year.
This year and next year.
So if you
This year, it's already budgeted for.
But if you budgeted, you probably budgeted $7,500 for this year.
Okay, we'll check that. And then when it comes budget time, we'll we'll budget appropriate amount for next year.
Okay. And that's all I have unless you have some questions.
We tabled your request last time for the $2,500 for the byways program. We briefly discussed it, but we didn't make a decision.
Okay?
Are you still going to need those funds?
Yes.
She's in the other department, and there is a surplus in the line item for the Northwest Kansas recycling.
Okay.
We could take that amount out of that area and reallocate it to her if you commissioners agree.
What is the total in that account?
The Northwest Kansas, wasn't that 36,000, Rodney?
Pardon?
When we looked at that, wasn't that 36,000 in the Northwest Kansas?
Is what was budgeted.
Uh,
And I believe that's an annual payment. We budgeted $35,930, and we paid $27,260. So that leaves us a surplus of $8,880.
Okay, I don't have a problem with that then.
You have no problem with that?
No. Probably need a motion.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve an appropriation in the amount of $2,500 to the Cheyenne County Development Corporation. Funds to be taken from the other department line item. Northwest Kansas Regional Recycling. So that's where we're going to transfer it out of into her account.
Do you have one of those transfer sheets in your drawer?
Yeah, I do. I'll make that out before we leave, and then we can sign it.
Okay.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Let's see, I guess we need to sign this too, but we'll need a motion on this resolution.
You're going to have to make a motion, yes.
Okay, make a motion that we approve resolution number 16-12, resolution of the Board of Cheyenne County Commissioners authorizing participation in Rural Opportunities Zone Student Loan Repayment Program. This resolution is for private corporations. Do I hear a second?
But you're not contributing to that?
No,
That's where that
non-contributing.
zero amount is at. The county will not contribute.
Right.
Their employer, you're.
That's why I
their
said
employer.
private.
Okay.
All
I
right.
second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Eric needed a few minutes. He's here.
Morning.
Did you get a copy of this?
Cody Cody can't be here, he's at a meeting. We need to get the police department chief, Thomas, a key for the front door. So if he needs to get in after hours, he has a way to do that. Just want to make sure that was okay before I had him come in and sign out for one.
And who is this?
Chief Thomas, Police Department.
Oh,
Is after hours, he's got no way to get in here. Or if we need to if we're going to continue keeping the building as a tornado shelter,
yeah.
and that affects kind of the theater mainly, but just some way that he can get the door unlocked. So,
Do you have any keys out right now that you're unaware of who has it?
There are some keys that have not been returned by employees that are no longer employed with Cheyenne County, but we have a few in there. And I'll see if Chief Guggenmoos, I don't know if he had one checked out or not, but we'll look.
okay.
Okay.
We'll look if
Yeah,
that's
I
okay.
don't have any problem
Okay.
with
I
that.
don't
either.
Okay.
I'll check with the clerk and then we'll
Yeah.
move
Okay.
forward. The other thing, this is that quote from Matt Wilson on network changes. I didn't print it up off for everybody. The sonic wall, the big item on here, basically is going to secure our network from any outside intrusion. It's
I
expensive.
can't read the email now, so that's gonna really help.
It's expensive, but what it does is pretty impressive. So the next thing is part of that software, and this one is part of that software. This is a user agreement. This other stuff would be switches throughout the building, and that would be for the future of the phone system. And this is his installation fee. There's two different ways we could go about that, and Matt and I haven't worked through those details, so I don't know if you want to make a decision on that yet. That's up to you guys.
You got money in your budget for it?
I don't know what's in the IT budget, computer-wise.
What's he got?
For what?
The total is 7,838.
Are you aware, do they have any money in their equipment account?
I haven't looked at that budget lately, so I could run a report real quick like, and it would show what was in that account.
Or you probably take out of the special equipment, couldn't we?
Computer normally doesn't have equipment reserve.
That's what I was thinking. I hadn't recalled seeing anything on there.
Well, special equipment would qualify that probably.
Well, yeah.
Computer has scheduled $500 to go into equipment reserve at the end of this year.
It won't cover much.
Under contractual. Now, how about rental agreements on the computer? Does that come out of here?
Contractual, it would be rental agreements would be a contractual line item.
Okay. There's 38,000 left. There was 44,000 budgeted. But I don't know what's going to come in down the line. And in other
Right.
words, if we spend money for a new requirement and then we have a contract that has to be renewed, we
Right.
got a problem.
We might have to table that.
I think we need to look at this and get more information on this account before we make a decision, if that's okay with you?
Yeah,
Okay.
that'd be fine. I can visit with Matt a little more about it, but I guess the general consensus is we'll do this eventually.
Well, I don't see that we got any much choice, do we? I mean,
Well-
we're gonna have to have it.
Not unless we want to keep paying $2.50 phone bill a minute.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I
that's
mean-
what I'm getting at. It's ought to balance out eventually.
Yeah. And if we do this, we can eliminate some connections that we're paying money for now
Okay.
and centralize it. So there will be some savings. It won't be huge.
Why don't we just table it for 2 weeks, and then we should have some answers by the end of
Okay.
this month,
Okay.
and look at your account,
Okay.
okay?
Anything else from me?
Okay.
I think that's
Yeah,
it.
we'll take it some.
Okay.
Could I get a copy of that?
Yeah. You can have this one.
Can we get Dave in here?
Thank you.
Thank you, Alex.
I have something real
Oh,
quick.
I'm
that-
sorry.
No, that's okay. I got an email from Jeff Paulson and the regional VP for Good Sam about amending our lease agreement with them. Currently, as the lease agreement is written, it provides for a lease payment every month. And apparently, at one point, there was essentially a verbal agreement.
And an email.
And when I discovered that, I contacted Jeff about, I would prefer to get something formally in writing to actually show a written agreement between the parties. And in discussing that, we talked about the regional VP for Good Sam actually was concerned about maybe changing the payment scheme a little bit more. And his proposal was to actually make it be 2 payments a year. So have one payment at the end of May and one payment for the end of November. And the reason for their request is an accounting request. So like a lot of us, they've been hiring auditors and trying to be held responsible. And the way the one-time payment is working for them right now is it doesn't happen until the end of the year, and that means it's not getting paid. They're not getting the amount until the end of January, and then they're not paying it for February. So something from 2015 isn't being taken care of till 2016. So this payment scheme would allow the majority of the payments to actually occur in the calendar year, with the exception of December being the only year. I don't see any legal concerns about that. In some ways, I sort of like the idea of having 2 payments spread out so the county's seeing money come in once in May and once in December. But before I spoke to Jeff and the regional VP for Good Sam further about making those changes, I wanted to get guidance from the board about whether or not you guys had an opinion on actually amending that agreement. I do think we need to amend it one way to either, we either need to have it represent that current practice, or we can agree to their recommendation of 2 payments a year rather than 1.
Yep, it's like last year, we encumbered $50,000 at the end of the year. We had no idea how much that annual payment was about.
That's the thing. I think from a financial auditing basis, this is probably better for us.
Yes, we could better budget money by going this way. I agree.
I would too.
Okay. So is
So-
the board comfortable with me approaching them about drafting some amendments?
Yes, I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
And you won't officially approve anything until I bring the amended agreement to
So-
the board for approval? Okay.
Go ahead and get an amended agreement.
Okay. And then can I have 5 minutes for executive session for legal counsel? And during that time, Deb can then grab Dave so he's ready.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Make a motion that we go into executive session for legal,
5 minutes.
Legal
legal.
counsel?
5 minutes of legal counsel.